Yeah. Subscribe to the channel. A rich woman, after inheriting her father's company, decided to go to the cleaning lady to test the employees. She was horrified when she heard what the manager said she did with her daughter. Martina was sitting in the living room of her immense mansion, observing the old photos of her family scattered on the table. The image of her father, Santiago, smiling at a birthday party, seemed to shine more intensely. I felt a deep sadness when I thought about his sudden death. Martina sighed, trying to contain the tears that insisted on falling. How can I assume the company now? Will I be able to? I thought, feeling the weight of the responsibility that was now falling on her shoulders. Mrs. Martina, the lawyer, is here for the reading of the will. Guadalupe, the faithful employee of the family, announced with a soft and respectful tone. Thank you, Guadalupe. Ask him to come in, answered Martina, trying to keep her voice firm despite the pain she felt. Martina listened to every word carefully, his heart beating faster with each phrase that revealed the magnitude of the inheritance that he would receive. I leave the company to my daughter, Martina. I fully trust in her ability to lead and continue the legacy that I built with so much effort, the lawyer read, raising his eyes to meet the eyes of Martina, who were now full of tears. He always believed in me, even when I did not believe, Martina murmured, drying his tears with a silk handkerchief. The responsibility seemed overwhelming, but the faith of his father in her gave him a little comfort and strength. After reading, Martina stayed alone in the room, reflecting on what she had just heard. The company was huge, with hundreds of employees and international operations. She had always lived a luxurious life, without worrying about the details of the business. I need to better understand the dynamics of the company, know who the employees are, whom I can trust, Martina thought, feeling the need to act quickly to honor the legacy of her father. Guadalupe, please bring me a coffee. I have a lot to think about, Martina asked, getting up to look out the window at the vastness of the property that was now his. While drinking the coffee, Martina began to consider her options. He knew he couldn't blindly trust anyone, especially after his father's sudden death. The company was vulnerable, and any mistake could be fatal. Maybe if she could observe the company without being noticed, she would better understand who the people who work there are, she reflected, feeling a mixture of determination and insecurity. Guadalupe, could you come for a moment, please? Calling the employee of the long term, who was always more than a worker, was a confidant and friend of the family. Yes, Mrs. Martina. What can I help you with? Guadalupe replied, entering the room with a curious look. I have a little crazy idea. I need your help to get it done, Martina said, looking directly at Guadalupe, waiting to see understanding in the eyes of the old friend. Sure, ma'am. What are you planning? Guadalupe asked, sitting in the chair across from Martina, ready to listen. I want to pose as a cleaner in the company. I need to know how things really work there, without anyone knowing who I am. This way, I will be able to discover who I can trust, Martina explained, feeling vulnerable as she exposed her plan. Guadalupe was silent for a moment, processing the idea. Then a smile appeared on his face. I think it's an excellent idea. Knowing her, I know she will succeed. I can help her with the disguise and some advice, Guadalupe said, full of enthusiasm and confidence. That night, Martina and Guadalupe spent hours planning the details. Guadalupe taught Martina to use cleaning products and to behave. They laughed together while Martina tried to learn to handle the broom and the bucket with skill. Remember not to make direct visual contact and try to be as invisible as possible, Guadalupe advised, demonstrating how a cleaner should act. Martina felt absorbing every detail. Martina knew that the decision to become a cleaner would not be easy, but her determination to honor her father's legacy was stronger. The next morning, the simple uniform that Guadalupe had prepared was put on and looked in the mirror. Will this really work? Martina thought, feeling a mixture of nervousness and excitement. It's ready, Mrs. Martina. Everything will be fine, Guadalupe said, holding his hands and looking at her with confidence. Guadalupe had worked as a cleaner in the company for many years and was highly respected by employees, especially by human resources personnel. When Martina decided to become a cleaner, it was Guadalupe who recommended her for the position. Thanks to the confidence that Guadalupe had gained over the years, her recommendation was accepted without question. I have a person of confidence who can help. She needs the job and is very discreet, Guadalupe said to the human resources manager, assuring that Martina would be perfect for the position. If you are recommending her, Guadalupe, I trust that it will be a good incorporation to the team, replied the human resources employee, accepting the recommendation immediately. Upon arriving at the company, Martina entered through the back door, where the cleaning staff used to pass by. The uniform made her look like a completely different person. No one would recognize her as the new owner of the company. She breathed deeply and began her first day as a cleaner. Good morning. I am the new cleaner. Where can I start? Asked Martina to a cleaning partner, trying to keep her voice calm and unpretentious. You can start by cleaning the main hall and then the meeting room. There's a lot of disorder there, said the partner without paying much attention to Martina. While cleaning, Martina was watching the employees around her closely. She noticed how some were kind and respectful to the cleaning workers, while others barely noticed their presence. She began to better understand the interpersonal dynamics within the company. It is interesting to see how people really are when they think that nobody is watching. He thought about Martina. During a break, Martina met Laura in the hallway. Her heart was pounding when she saw her daughter, who didn't recognize her because she was very far away, and she also wore a mask and was dressed in a completely different way than usual. Laura, Martina's daughter, was years old and already lived alone in her own apartment. She was a businesswoman for a year, an opportunity that her grandfather Santiago had given her. In addition, Laura was studying administration and was about to graduate. The two only saw each other on weekends, and Martina chose not to tell her daughter about her plan. It is better this way. She does not need to carry this weight, Martina thought, trying to protect Laura from further concerns. Excuse me, have you seen where they put the marketing report? Laura asked, distracted, without looking directly at Martina. I think he's in the meeting room. Miss, I can help you find him, said Martina, feeling a mixture of pride and sadness when she saw her daughter so dedicated. Laura thanked and followed her path, leaving Martina with a knot in her throat. She is doing well, but I would like to be able to talk to her openly, Martina thought, feeling the pain of keeping the secret. Later, while she was cleaning the meeting room, Martina heard a conversation between the company's manager, Guillermo, and another employee. They talked about important projects and decisions of the company, but Guillermo's tone was condescending and manipulative. Martina discreetly hid behind a door, listening to each word. We need to take control of these decisions before the new owner of the company realizes what we are doing, said Guillermo, with a tone of voice that made Martina tremble with rage. He's up to something. I need to be careful with him, Martina thought. Writing down everything she had heard, the decision to become a cleaner was already beginning to reveal hidden truths. At the end of the day, Martina returned home exhausted, but decided the experience of being a cleaner had given her a new perspective about the company and the people who worked in it. She knew she still had a lot to discover, but she was willing to continue with her disguise until she fully understood who was on her side. Guadalupe, you won't believe what she discovered today, said Martina, as she took off her uniform and sat in the kitchen to talk with her friend. Tell me everything, Mrs. Martina. I'm eager to know, Guadalupe responded, pouring a cup of tea for both of them. Martina began to narrate the events of the day, detailing her interactions and observations. She felt that she was on the right track to discover the truth about her company. I'm doing this for you, Dad. I promise not to fail, Martina thought, while she shared her discoveries with Guadalupe, determined to protect the legacy of her father and the company that was now her responsibility. As she did every day, the sun had barely come out, but she was already there, organizing her desk and reviewing the reports from the previous day. Laura was a year-old young woman, full of dreams and determination. Since she was little, she always wanted to follow in the footsteps of her grandfather Santiago. Regardless of the name or the fortune of the family, I need to show my worth, not only to be recognized as the granddaughter of the great Santiago, Laura thought, as he adjusted his glasses and began to work. Good morning, Laura. I see you arrived early again, said Pedro, a fellow intern who always admired her dedication. Good morning, Pedro. Yes, there is a lot of work to do, and I don't want to leave anything behind, Laura responded with a determined smile. Pedro always saw her as a source of inspiration, but Laura knew she needed to prove it to everyone, not only him. During the morning, Laura had several meetings scheduled with different departments, was organized and took meticulous notes, always looking to learn more about the company. Her goal was one day to ascend into the hierarchy for her own merits. If I work hard enough, you will see what I am capable of, Laura thought while writing down the main points of the We need these reports ready for the afternoon meeting. Can you finish them on time? Anna, the demanding supervisor, asked, who did not know about Laura's connection with the owner of the company. Of course, Sana. Leave it to me. I'll finish them before the deadline, Laura replied, full of confidence. Although she felt the pressure to increase, she liked the challenges and saw each task as an opportunity to stand out. Laura often remembered her grandfather's advice. Santiago always said that dedication and integrity were the keys to success. I'm doing this for you, grandfather. I want you to feel proud of me, Laura thought, feeling a mixture of nostalgia and determination. Her grandfather had always been her great mentor and inspiration. During lunch break, Laura used to sit alone in the company cafeteria. He liked to analyze the interactions and better understand the company's culture. Despite being new there, he could already see who the real leaders were and who only pretended to be. I have to learn from the best and avoid the false ones, Laura thought as she bit her sandwich. Hello, Laura. Can I sit here? Sure, Guillermo, sit down, Laura responded, although she felt slightly disconcerted. Guillermo always looked at her in a way that made her uneasy, but she preferred not to think about it too much. How is the internship going? Do you like the work? Guillermo asked, with a smile that Laura found a little forced. It's been an excellent experience. I'm learning a lot, and I like challenges, Laura responded. Trying to be diplomatic, she knew she needed to maintain good relationships, but she also knew that Guillermo was not someone she trusted completely. After lunch, Laura returned to work with renewed energy. She wanted to finish the reports on time and show that she was able to meet the set deadlines. While she quickly typed on the computer, she thought of her mother, Martina. I would like her to see how much I am trying, Laura thought, without knowing that her mother was closer than she imagined, disguised as a cleaner in the company. At the end of the day, Laura delivered the reports to Anna, feeling a wave of satisfaction. Very well, Laura. Excellent job. You will have a bright future here, Anna said with a strange smile of approval. Thank you, Anna. I will continue to give my best, Laura replied, feeling more confident. Anna's recognition meant a lot to her, and it was a sign that she was on the right track. As she left the office, Laura saw Martina, the cleaner, cleaning the hallways in the distance. Martina was wearing a mask, which made it impossible for Laura to recognize her. They exchanged a quick look, and Martina felt a pain in her heart for not being able to hug her daughter and tell her how proud she was of her. One day, Laura, you will understand everything, Martina thought, watching her daughter go out the main door with firm and determined steps. On the way home, Laura reflected on the day. Despite the challenges and the pressure, she felt that she was progressing I need to keep going like this, one step at a time. I know I can achieve my goals, Laura thought as she walked the busy streets of the city. Upon arriving at her apartment, Laura sat at the kitchen table with a cup of tea. Thinking about how she could improve even more, she mentally checked her interactions and tasks, looking for ways to improve. Every day is an opportunity to learn and grow, Laura reflected. Decided to continue on his path with the same dedication that his grandfather had taught him. That night, Laura felt a mixture of fatigue and satisfaction. She knew that the path would be long and full of obstacles, but she was ready to face each one of them. I'm doing this for us, grandfather. I won't disappoint you, she thought while reviewing the daily reports. It was a quiet night, and she was satisfied with the progress she had made in the company. Suddenly, her cell phone vibrated with a new message. She took the phone and saw that it was Guillermo's. What will she want? She thought, curious and a little anxious. Laura, I wanted to tell you that you are doing an incredible job. Your grandfather Santiago would be very proud of you, Guillermo wrote. Laura felt a warmth in her heart when she read the words. The compliment seemed sincere, and the mention to his grandfather touched her. Thank you, Guillermo. That means a lot to me. I'm doing my best to honor your legacy. Laura replied, with a smile on her lips. She had always respected Guillermo as a mentor and leader in the company. Minutes later, another message arrived. You have a natural talent for business. Laura, it's rare to find someone with so much dedication and competence. I'd like to discuss some ideas with you. What do you think about a dinner tomorrow night? Guillermo suggested. Laura hesitated for a moment. A dinner with Guillermo seemed like an incredible opportunity for learning and growth. I feel flattered, Guillermo. It would be great. At what time and where? Laura asked. She felt honored to receive so much attention and recognition from someone so important in the company. What do you think of the o'clock at the restaurant La Casa de Piedra? It is a quiet place, perfect for business discussions, said Guillermo. Laura accepted the suggestion and agreed on the details. That night, while she was getting ready to sleep, Laura could not stop thinking about Guillermo's words. Will you really see potential in me? I will be making the difference, I thought, feeling a mixture of emotion and anxiety. I could barely wait for dinner the next day. The next day, Laura worked with renewed enthusiasm. Every task seemed more significant, and she felt that she was finally being recognized for her effort. During lunch break, Laura told a colleague about Guillermo's invitation. Seriously? Guillermo invited you to dinner? That's incredible. Laura really sees potential in you, said Carla, her colleague, with a look of admiration. Yes, I'm a little nervous, but also very excited. I want to learn as much as possible from him, Laura replied, trying to hide her anxiety. She knew this was a great opportunity, and she didn't want to waste it. At p.m., Laura arrived at the restaurant La Casa de Piedra. Was dressed with an elegant but discreet outfit, wanting to impress without exaggerating. Guillermo was already there, sitting at a table reserved in a quiet corner of the restaurant. He got up to greet her with a warm smile. Laura, you are wonderful. It is a pleasure to have you here tonight, said Guillermo, bringing a chair so that she could sit down. Thank you, Guillermo. I am very happy to be here. I can't wait to discuss the ideas you mentioned, Laura replied, feeling flattered and a little nervous. The atmosphere of the restaurant was cozy and elegant, which helped her relax a little. During dinner, Guillermo constantly praised Laura's work, making her feel more and more confident. You have an incredible vision for business, Laura. Your ideas are innovative and practical. Santiago would be very proud of you, Guillermo said while serving dessert. Hearing that makes me want to work even harder. I want to honor my grandfather's legacy and make a difference in the company, Laura responded, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. She was delighted with Guillermo's attention and praise. As dinner continued, Guillermo began flirting with Laura, mixing professional and personal compliments. Laura, A smart woman like you is rare to find. And besides, you are beautiful. You are the type of woman that any man would want to have by his side," said Guillermo, looking deeply into her eyes. She felt that her heart was accelerating, and she was amazed by the fulfillment. "Thank you, Guillermo. I do not know what to say," replied Laura, surprised and amazed by the words of Guillermo. She never expected to hear something like that from him. "It's true, in fact, I've been single for a while. I miss having someone special by my side. Someone who understands what is important to me and who shares the same values and goals," Guillermo continued, with a softer and more personal tone of voice. Laura was amazed by his opening. "I understand. It must be difficult to find someone who really understands our ambitions and responsibilities," Laura said, feeling connected with Guillermo in a way that I did not expect. "Exactly. That's why I think you are so special. Laura, you have everything I admire in a woman: intelligence, dedication, and beauty." "It is rare to find all that in one person," said Guillermo. She felt a wave of emotions, and a shy smile appeared on her lips. "That is very kind, Guillermo. I never imagined you would think that of me," Laura replied, feeling more and more involved in Guillermo's words. At the end of dinner, Guillermo accompanied Laura to the exit of the restaurant. On the way, he stopped and approached her, looking deeply into her eyes. "Laura, I really feel connected to you. Can I kiss you?" he asked Guillermo, slowly leaning. Laura, feeling enchanted and entangled by the moment, gently caressed her. Guillermo approached her gently and kissed her tenderly. Laura felt that her heart was accelerating and responded to the kiss, feeling a mixture of emotions that she had never experienced before. They exchanged caresses and got lost at the feeling closer than ever. "It was a wonderful night, Laura. I hope we can repeat this soon. We have a lot to talk about and plan," said Guillermo, with a warm smile. "I agree, Guillermo. Thanks for tonight. It was very enlightening and inspiring," Laura replied with gratitude and enthusiasm. I was excited with the words and the closeness of Guillermo, feeling special and appreciated. As she walked towards her house, Laura felt in the clouds. "He really believes in me, and maybe there's something more between us," she thought. Feeling more motivated than ever, Laura's innocence did not allow her to realize what Guillermo's true intentions were. The next day, Martina was advancing in her cleaning suit at the company, still adapting to the new role. The simple uniform and the mask made her look like a completely different person. He began his morning cleaning the corridors, carefully observing the behavior of the employees. "I need to understand who these people really are," Martina thought, as she passed the rag on the floor. When he arrived at the meeting room, he found Guillermo, the manager, discussing with an assistant, but without ceasing to pay attention to the conversation. Guillermo was visibly irritated, gesticulating with impatience. "I already told you that I want those reports ready for the end of the day. I do not accept excuses," said Guillermo, with an authoritarian tone that made the assistant shrink. "Yes, Mr. Guillermo, I will do my best to finish on time." Before leaving the room hastily, Martina continued cleaning, trying to seem invisible. Guillermo noticed her, and for a moment, his eyes showed contempt. "You are new here, right?" Guillermo asked, without much interest, while he sat at the table. "Yes, sir. I started recently," Martina replied, keeping his head down, feeling the tension in the air. "I hope you do your job well. We don't have time for mistakes," said Guillermo, before returning his attention to the papers in front of him. Martina noticed how he seemed to always be in control, imposing his authority above all around him. While Guillermo was reviewing the documents, Martina took the opportunity to observe more closely. He noticed that he was always trying to impress the superiors, but he had no scruples in passing over his colleagues to reach his goals. "He is exactly the kind of person my father warned me of," Martina thought, feeling a growing distrust. During a break, Martina sat in a corner of the dining room, watching the employees, saw Guillermo approaching a group of passers-by, including Laura, his daughter. Martina felt a knot in her heart when she saw him interact with Laura, who seemed very comfortable. "Laura, you are doing very well. You will have a bright future here," said Guillermo, with a smile that did not reach his eyes. Laura thanked, and Martina could see satisfaction in her face. "He is trying to manipulate my daughter too," Martina thought, feeling a wave of anger and protection. "I knew I had to act cautiously, but I was determined to expose Guillermo and protect Laura." That same afternoon, Martina was cleaning the meeting room, quietly moving between the chairs and the large wooden table. While cleaning, she heard voices from the hall. It was Guillermo talking to a friend. Martina left what she was doing and hid behind the door, listening carefully. "It was easier than I thought. Laura is young and naive. Exactly the type that falls into my stories," said Guillermo, laughing. Martina felt a chill run through her back. She was talking about her daughter. "These girls want to believe in the blueprints. I just had to be a little charming and show interest in their work. So I approached. I gained their trust. Now I'm harvesting the fruits," responded Guillermo, with a tone of voice full of contempt and arrogance. Martina could hardly believe what she was listening to. Her heart beat fast, and she felt a mixture of anger and sadness. "How could my daughter do this?" Martina thought, holding back her tears as she listened to each word. "And now that Mr. Santiago has left, do you think you can manipulate the new owner?" asked the curious friend. "She has no idea what is happening. Meanwhile, I will continue to cast my charms at Laura and make sure that everything is under my control," said Guillermo, with a malicious smile. Martina felt her blood boil. She needed to do something to protect Laura and unmask Guillermo. Guillermo and his friend left the room, leaving Martina alone with her thoughts. She left her hiding place and continued to mechanically clean. While her mind was working frantically, "I can't let her continue with this. I need to protect my daughter and the company," Martina thought, feeling that her determination grew inside her. That night, when she got home, Martina met with Guadalupe to vent her anger and plan the next steps. They sat in the kitchen, where Martina told everything she had heard. "Guadalupe is manipulating Laura. Seduce my daughter just to gain advantages in the company. This is unacceptable," Martina said, with anger and sadness in her voice. "Martina, we need to act quickly. We cannot let Guillermo continue with these plans. You need to gather all the evidence and unmask it," responded Guadalupe, trying to calm Martina, but also feeling the seriousness of the situation. Martina knew that Guadalupe was right. "I had to be careful and strategic to ensure that Guillermo was exposed without putting Laura in danger. I have to protect my daughter at all costs," Martina thought, while planning the next actions. The next day, Martina returned to work with a new determination. She began her cleaning routine, but her mind was focused on how to collect evidence against Guillermo. While cleaning the corridors, she saw Laura talking to Guillermo. Guillermo's simple gaze at his daughter made Martina feel a knot in her heart. In the afternoon, Martina saw an opportunity to take some documents that could incriminate Guillermo. She entered the archives room and began to lurk in the drawers, looking for anything she could use. While she was wiping the papers, she found several inconsistencies in documents that clearly showed Guillermo's financial manipulation. "This will be enough to start," Martina murmured to herself, feeling a mixture of relief and anxiety. She knew she had to act quickly, but she also had to make sure that every step was carefully planned. Martina was determined to investigate Guillermo more thoroughly to save her daughter and her company. One afternoon, while cleaning Guillermo's office, she found a mark as confidential. She knew it could be dangerous, but her curiosity and determination made her open the envelope. Inside, she found documents detailing bank transfers and fraudulent agreements. This is exactly what I need, Martina thought as she photographed the documents with her cell phone to have a safe copy. Martina knew that the time had come to tell Laura the truth. She felt but she knew she had to do it. That night, she decided to go to Laura's apartment, a place that had become a sanctuary of independence for the young years old. Martina felt a mixture of nervousness and determination as she climbed the stairs that would take her to the moment of truth. Upon reaching the door of the apartment, Martina breathed deeply and hit gently. Laura opened the door with a smile, but his expression changed when he saw the seriousness on his mother's face. "Mom, what's wrong? You look worried," Laura said, inviting Martina to come in. Martina came in and looked around, absorbing the familiarity of the place. It was welcoming and well-organized, reflecting Laura's responsible character. "Laura, we need to talk. There is something very important that you should know," Martina replied, sitting on the sofa and gesticulating so that Laura would do the same. Martina felt a wave of emotion when she saw her daughter so close, knowing that she was about to break her trust. "What happened, Mom?" "You are scaring me," said Laura, feeling a pinch of anxiety. She sat next to Martina, worried about her mother's serious tone. "Laura, I was disguised as a concierge at the company. I did this to discover what was really going on and who we could trust," Martina began, looking directly into Laura's eyes. The surprise and confusion on her daughter's face were palpable. "What? Why would you do something like that?" Laura asked, tonally. I could barely believe what I was hearing. His mother, the owner of the company, disguised as concierge, was difficult to process. I needed to discover the truth without anyone knowing who I was, and what I discovered is worse than I imagined. Guillermo is manipulating everyone, including you. Laura is devising money and using you to achieve her goals, Martina explained, with a trembling voice of emotion. "What? Guillermo? Was he using me?" Laura felt a wave of anger and sadness at the same time. The words of his mother hit hard, revealing a painful truth that he had never suspected. "Yes, daughter. I heard him say that he seduced you just to gain advantages in the company. He is involved in fraud and manipulation of documents. I have evidence," said Martina, holding Laura's hands tightly, trying to convey his sincerity and pain. "How could this happen to me? I thought he really cared." Laura began to cry, feeling betrayed and manipulated. The idea that Guillermo was only feigning friendship and interest devastated her. "I know, dear. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I wanted to protect you and be safe before revealing everything. Now, we need to act together to expose Guillermo and protect the company and our family," Martina said with tears in her eyes. I felt Laura's pain as if it were her own. "I'm so hurt, Mom, but I'm also angry. I'm not going to let you keep doing this. I'm with you." "Let's unmask him," Laura said, drying her tears and looking at her mother with a renewed determination. Sadness was still there, but now there was a fire of revenge burning in her eyes. "Thank you, Laura. I knew I could count on you. We will need to be careful and strategic. I have already gathered many evidence, and with your help, we will present everything to the directive," said Martina, feeling relieved to see that her daughter was willing to fight by her side. "Let's do it, Mom, for the grandfather, for our family, and for all the people that Guillermo has harmed," said Laura, holding Martina's hand firmly. The pain of betrayal was still there, but the force of love and justice was greater. Martina spent the rest of the night with Laura, explaining in detail everything she had discovered and how she planned to expose Guillermo. They discussed every step carefully, making sure there were no flaws in the plan. Martina and Laura made a plan to expose Guillermo. They collected all the evidence against him. "Laura, we need to be extremely careful. We cannot leave any gap. Guillermo will try to defend himself in all possible ways, said Martina, with a serious look, staring at a pile of papers. I know, Mom. I've already checked these documents several times. The evidence is solid. It will not have an escape, Laura responded, determined. As she passed her eyes through the list of evidence that had been compiled, the anger still bubbling within her. But now she was channeled into a fierce determination. Martina sighed, feeling the weight of the responsibility. She looked at Laura, who was focused on reviewing the details. She felt a wave of pride for the strength and resilience of her daughter. We will achieve it, for us and for Dad, Martina thought, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. We need to make sure that the directive sees all the tests clearly, and I will start with the explanation of financial frauds, and then you can talk about the personal manipulations that he did with you, Martina suggested, while writing down the main points of the presentation. Yes, I think that will be more shocking. We need to show that not only did it financially harm the company, but it also abused people's trust around it, Laura said, agreeing with the plan. He knew that his personal testimony would be crucial to convince the board. The two spent hours organizing the documents, creating a detailed timeline of Guillermo's frauds, and preparing slides with graphs and financial data. Martina wanted everything to be impeccable, with no room for doubt or contention. Laura, I think we are ready. Tomorrow will be a difficult day, but I am confident that we have everything we need, said Martina, closing the last folder and looking at his daughter with an encouraging look. I'm ready, Mom. Let's do justice and protect the legacy of the grandfather, Laura replied, feeling a mixture of anxiety and determination. She knew it would be a decisive moment for her family and for the company. The day of the decisive meeting had finally arrived. Martina and Laura got up early, both feeling the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. They knew it would be a crucial moment for the company and for their own lives. Martina dressed in an elegant black suit, while Laura chose a professional blue dress. They exchanged determined looks before going to the office. Today is the day, Laura. We are going to expose the truth and protect the legacy of the grandfather, said Martina, trying to hide the nervousness while adjusting the folder full of incriminating documents. I'm with you, Mom. Let's do justice, Laura replied, feeling a mixture of anxiety and determination. She held Martina's hand for a moment, seeking and offering support. Upon arriving at the company, they headed directly to the meeting room, where the board was already waiting. The atmosphere was tense, all curious about the reason for the emergency meeting, sitting with a confidence that would soon be destroyed. Martina began the meeting with a formal introduction. Good morning to all. Thank you for being here. We call this meeting to deal with extremely serious issues that directly affect the integrity of our company, said Martina, keeping her voice up. She felt the curious and impatient looks of the members of the board, but she knew she had to keep control. Before we begin, there is something I need to reveal, Martina continued, taking a deep breath. In the last few months, I was dressed as a cleaner in the company to better understand what was happening and who we could trust. A murmur of surprises went through the room. The members of the board exchanged surprised looks, and Guillermo opened his eyes, clearly disconcerted. I know this may seem extreme, but I discovered things that could not have been revealed otherwise, Martina explained. She looked directly at Guillermo, seeing how his confidence began to crumble. Martina began to present the evidence, one by one. Documents projected on the screen clearly showed Guillermo's financial frauds, suspected bank transfers, and manipulated reports. Each diapositiva brought a new wave of surprise for the present. Here are the evidences of money and manipulation of documents. Guillermo, you betrayed the trust of all of us and put the legacy of Santiago at risk, said Martina, with a voice loaded with emotion and determination. Looked directly at Guillermo, whose expression went from confident to terrified. Guillermo tried to interrupt, but Martina cut it quickly. I'm not done yet, Guillermo. Your manipulation was not only financial, you also abused personal trust, especially my daughter, Laura, said Martina, pointing to Laura, who got up to talk. Good morning, everyone. I am Laura, and I want to share my personal experience with Guillermo. He seduced and manipulated me, making me believe that he was worried about me, only to gain advantages in the company. Here are the messages and evidence of your intentions, Laura said, projecting text messages and emails that checked her words. Those accusations are false. This is a conspiracy against me, said Guillermo, getting up abruptly. His voice was desperate, but nobody seemed convinced of his innocence. Martina kept calm, knowing that the truth was on their side. All the evidence is here, and all of you can verify them. There is no more place for frauds and manipulations in our company, said Martina firmly. The room fell into a tense silence, broken by the growing murmur of the employees. Some were moved, while others began to argue among themselves, divided between supporting Martina and Laura or questioning their integrity. Martina, this is incredible. I never imagined you would disguise yourself to discover the truth. This shows your commitment to the company, said Anna, one of the secretaries, visibly impressed. I agree, Anna. We need leaders in which we can trust, and Martina has shown that she is willing to do what is necessary to protect the company, said Carlos, one of the department employees, joining the conversation. However, not everyone was convinced. Pedro, one of the financial analysts, rose visibly disturbed. Martina, how can we be sure that you are not hiding something else? How to trust someone who disguises and deceives everyone? Pedro asked, with a voice full of distrust. I understand your concerns, Pedro. I believe that transparency and truth are fundamental from now on. I am willing to answer all your questions and show all the evidence I gathered. Our goal is to restore the trust of all of you, said Martina, with a sincere tone. Laura, perceiving the growing tension, decided to intervene. I know it's difficult for all of you. It was also difficult for me to discover the truth about Guillermo. My mother did this to protect the company and all of us. Let's work together to ensure this does not happen again, Laura said, trying to convey calm and solidarity. Laura, I understand your position, but it's hard not to feel betrayed as well. Martina lied to all of us. That is not easy to accept, said Sophia, a human resources employee, expressing the feelings of many present there. The discussion began to intensify, with employees talking at the same time, defending or questioning Martina and Laura. The atmosphere became even more tense when Guillermo, with a smile hidden, decided to intervene. Look how she has divided you all. This is what happens when you cannot trust the leadership. Martina caused all this with her secrets and manipulations, said Guillermo, trying to turn the situation in his favor. Guillermo, we cannot forget that you betrayed our trust and abused your position. The evidence is clear, and we need to act together to overcome this, Laura said, looking firmly at Guillermo. The room exploded in heated discussions. Some employees defended Martina and Laura, while others expressed doubts and supported Guillermo. The division between employees was evident, and the tension reached its maximum point. Martina, you lied to us all. How do you expect us to trust you now? Pedro shouted, feeling betrayed. Other employees murmured in agreement, with the feeling of anger and disappointment growing. They don't understand. Martina did what she did to protect the company. Carlos defended, trying to pacify the situation. That seems more like a convenient excuse, replied Pedro, with an acidic and skeptical tone. We need to stay calm and focus on what is best for the company. If we continue to be divided, we will only strengthen those who want to see us fail, said Sophia, trying to mediate the situation. Sophia is right. Let's solve this together and ensure that our company comes out stronger from this situation, said Carlos, trying to generate a sense of unity. Guillermo, watching the scene, felt satisfied. The division between the employees and the anger directed towards Martina seemed to play in his favor. See? Martina is not worthy of her trust. She manipulates and lies, said Guillermo, with a hidden smile. Martina knew she needed to keep calm and show her authority. Raised his voice to be heard above the growing tumult. Everyone, please calm down and listen. I'm the owner of this company. My responsibility is to protect my father's legacy and ensure that this company prosper with integrity. The real cause of division in our company is Guillermo, not me, said Martina, and Guillermo tried to get up again, but Martina was faster. Your manipulation and your frauds are irrefutable. The evidence is all here. Your actions have harmed the company and all those who work here. You betrayed our trust and put at risk the arduous work of all of us, said Martina, looking at him closely. This is absurd. Everyone is against me. Guillermo exclaimed, visibly disturbed. The despair in his voice was evident. Without being intimidated, you stole from the company, manipulated documents, and abused the personal trust of many here. The truth is clear. Admitting your crimes is the least you can do now, Martina said, her voice firm and full of authority. The silence that followed was heavy and loaded with expectation. Finally, under the unbearable pressure, Guillermo gave in, but not before showing his true character. I admitted I did that, but I had my reasons, Guillermo confessed, despair stamped on his face. What reasons could justify your actions? Asked Martina, incredible. Guillermo gave a cynical smile, and his expression changed to something more gloomy. Reasons? I can mention, for example, avarice, power, control. I do not need noble excuses. And your daughter? She was easy to manipulate. She had so many praises, so many promises, and she felt like an idiot, Guillermo said, with contempt. Laura is stupid, Martina. For me, it was like a game. She believed every one of my words. It was pathetic. Shock and repulsion filled the room. Laura was paralyzed, tears beginning to stream down her face. Martina, stupefied and furious. He took a step forward. You're a monster, Guillermo. You manipulated my daughter and stole from the company without any remorse. How dare you talk like that about her? Said Martina, her voice trembling with anger and indignation. And what? This is the world of business, Martina. If you don't know how to play the game, then you lose, said Guillermo, with a malicious smile. All these naive employees, thinking they are safe, they are nothing to me. The employees, before divided, were now unified in their repulsion towards Guillermo. Murmurs of indignation spread throughout the room. You are despicable, shouted Anna, the secretary, getting up from her chair. How could you do this to us? Added Pedro, one of the financial analysts, visibly disturbed. Carlos, one of the managers, also said, you don't deserve to be in this company. Guillermo, your greed and lack of character embarrass us. Carlos said, pointing out accusatively. Martina felt a wave of support coming from the employees. She knew she needed to act immediately. Guillermo, you are fired immediately and you will be prosecuted for your actions. There is no place for someone like you in this company, declared Martina without a hint of doubt. The security guards, previously alerted, entered the room and escorted Guillermo outside. He tried to resist, but his fight was useless. The cynical smile finally disappeared from his face, replaced by an expression of defeat. The tension in the room began to decrease, replaced by a feeling of relief and justice. Martina looked at Laura, that was being consoled by some colleagues, approached his daughter and hugged her tightly. I'm very sorry for all this, Laura. I promise we're going to get through this together, said Martina, feeling Laura's sadness and anger. Laura sighed, drying her tears and trying to recover the compound. We're going to keep working together to ensure a better future for our company. "I thank everyone for your support and understanding," said Martina, concluding the meeting with a determined look. While the employees left the room, still processing the events, Martina and Laura remained, reflecting on the next step. They knew that the road would be difficult, but they were ready to face the challenges and protect the legacy of Santiago. The atmosphere in the company, although still tense, began to show signs of recovery. With Guillermo off the scene and the truth finally revealed, Martina and Laura felt a new sense of purpose and determination. The company began to prosper under renewed leadership, with Martina and Laura guiding everyone firmly and with passion. The legacy of Santiago was safe, and mother and daughter found a new strength in their union, ready to build a bright and promising future for all. If you like this story, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling us your opinion. Your support is fundamental for us to continue with our work. Now on your screen appears another exciting story that we prepare for you. Good session.